I'm going to call the City Council meeting to order. It is now 6:01, Tuesday, February 24th, 2025. Please note for the record, all council members are present with Mayor Paul Paschal on the web. Mayor Paschal, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Perfectly. As we go into today, we'll be calling on you, kind of wave if you need to speak, and we'll call on you, but we'll be calling on your votes to be done verbally, please. Okay, item number 1 is invocation. With that said, we invite up Mr. David Slider.
Let us pray. Good and gracious God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for warm weather. We thank you for the spring that is starting to sprout all around this city and this community. God, we just pray that you would be with this council as they make decisions this evening. Give them wisdom and guidance. God, we always remember that during this season of Lent that we are looking forward to your resurrection on Easter. But during that time, God, we will have difficulties, but we know that you are with us and that you will walk beside us each and every day. And we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for being here with us. Item number 3 on the agenda will be pledges of allegiance to the United States and Texas flag, led today by Councilmember Heidi Wilder.
Please join me.
Thank you for that. And item number 4 on the agenda is items of community interest.
Mayor Pro Tem and Council and Mayor, good things are happening around town. We've got fresh pancakes, fresh flowers, a fresh website. Spring must be around the corner. It is with heavy hearts that we share the passing of a retired police officer, Tim Trevino, who served our community from 2007 to 2021. Tim was known for his calm presence, deep compassion, and the genuine care he showed to everyone he encountered. We are grateful for his years of service and ask that you keep his family, friends, and former colleagues in your thoughts and prayers. The Weatherford Animal Shelter has been awarded a $50,000 grant for the national nonprofit Petco Love to support life-saving efforts for pets in our community. The funding will help reunite lost pets with their families, support successful adoptions, and expand outreach and education, as well as spay and neuter services. WeatherfordTX.gov will soon have a new look. The new look goes live tomorrow, Wednesday, February 25th, with a cleaner, brighter, more welcoming feel. Behind the scenes, staff have been working to clear out old and outdated information, so finding what you need is faster and easier. Same website, just a fresh glow up. And the Rotary's annual pancake dinner is March 3rd from 5 to 7:30 p.m. All you can eat pancakes for $5? That's not a fundraiser, that's a public service. Weatherford Rotary is back at Weatherford High School serving up stacks for a good cause. Grab a $5 pre-sale ticket at the Weatherford Chamber of Commerce or pay $8 at the door. And Spring Fling at Shandor Gardens is Saturday, March 21st from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Stroll the gardens while local artists, makers, and plant enablers tempt you at every turn. Kids can pot a seed to take home, and you can fuel up on sweet treats and live music. Free admission, free music, free vendor spots. Shandor Gardens is basically the Oprah of spring. And if you're looking for something fun to circle on your calendar, you can stroll, shop, and snack your way through First Monday Trade Days happening this Friday, February 27th through Sunday, March 1st at Heritage Park. It's a Weatherford classic for a reason. And looking ahead, our first Food Park Lounge Night comes back to Heritage Park on Tuesday, March 24th from 6 to 9 p.m. For more details on these and other events, visit experienceweatherford.com.
Thank you for that. For those of you that are standing in the back, I just want to let you know we're going to get some chairs brought in for you right now. Staff's working on that. So, item number 5 on the agenda, 5A, consider approval of the minutes of the City Council meeting held February 10th, 2026. Council? Motion has been made by Ms. Heidi Wilder, second by Mr. Matt Tiskus. Paul, I apologize. Mayor Paschal, would you mind saying your vote? I'm sorry.
I'm a yay.
Yay. Sorry for that, Mayor, and the yays have it. That passes. Item number 6 on the agenda is consent agenda items. We do have a speaker card council on items 6B and 6C, so we are going to hold those off and talk about those in just a moment. This would be entertaining a motion for 6A, 6D, E, and 6F, please. Motion's been made by Ms. Wilder, second by Matt Tiskus. Mayor Paschal?
I'm a yay.
And the yeas have it. Item number 6B and 6C, we'll hear a presentation from staff. I invite up Scott McDonald to speak on those. We're going to have the presentation together as a body on those 2 items, and then we'll vote on them individually after the speaker card is heard.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. My apologies.
That's okay. I tell you what, I can read off those items for those listening while you're getting that pulled up. Item number 6B, consider request for preliminary plat approval for Villas at Heritage Point Addition, being 89 residential lots on approximately 16.788 acres of land, being generally located along East First Street, City of Weatherford, Parker County, Texas, SBDP-26-0001. Item number 6C, with this presentation will also be for consider a request for final plat approval for Villas of Heritage Point Addition Phase 1, being 9 residential lots on approximately 0.919 acres of land, being generally located along East First Street, City of Weatherford, Parker County, Texas, SBD-26-001. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you. We're going to be pulling up that presentation momentarily. I'll just go ahead and take care of some housekeeping on this. So 6B and C, we will take both items. One is a preliminary plat and the other is a final plat. Important to note that these are plats, which are a ministerial act. The zoning for this was conducted by a previous council in 2006. So the zoning for that was for single-family patio homes, single-family townhomes, and that met the lot standards at the time, and it does not apply today. So it's just an important note that this is a platting action, not a zoning action. The preliminary plat approval that you're going to see shortly is for 89 single-family residential properties. This is 9 townhome lots. It will have 5 open space lots. It's approximately 16.78 acres, and it is, like I say, zoned from 2006, and it meets all of those standards. A portion of this will be the final plat, which will be the townhome portion, which I will show you momentarily. Thank you. Okay, so the exhibit before you has the patio homes, which is the vast majority of this. At the very southern portion is the townhomes, which will be on a final plat. Just to show you an image of our general plan, the general plan shows for suburban living, which you see in yellow, in the urban living, which is in brown. So that is where those townhome locations are. So you go back to this at the very bottom portion of the document, you will see those townhomes. If I reverse that, that's just going to be back to what the general plan shows, so it's consistent with what our general plan has. The second item, which is the final plat for the villas at Heritage Point, would be the plat approval, the final plat approval for the 9 townhome lots, 4 of the open space lots, and it's a little less than an acre. I will stand for any questions.
Understood. Council, if you're okay with it, we have a speaker card on this item. We'd like to let that person speak before we continue. Speaker card is Ms. Lynn Baber. Ms. Baber, for the record, if you don't mind, state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Don't I get a frequent flyer pass? Anyway, Lynn Baber, 2126 Timber Cove Court, Weatherford. So I understand that this is a formality vote. However, I think there are a couple of things that might be important for the public to understand, and one that, gosh, maybe might be an opening here. So this was vested 20 years ago. Nothing can change that. However, nothing has happened on this virgin Texas ground, this beautiful woodlands, for 20 years. So a question I have is there a timeline attached to this plat? Agenda packet information suggests that council, quote, may disapprove this plat for specific reasons. Now, I know that those are probably very well codified, but can lack of intent to develop after a 20-year delay be one of them? Or has Texas law really closed that door? With that understood, if that's the case, that prior zoning locks us in, and there's just nothing that can be done about this. So we have, with drainage issues, and I've lived in a plat just like this in Weatherford, it's great to start with, but when each one is privately held, can put up their own fencing, drainage becomes a nightmare. So if there's a way that this can be addressed, because we have no intent in the past to build, and I would love to know if there's a timeline with this. So this zoning issue, 3 other developments in that area give rise to why that's an important question. Rolling Oaks, which is across the street basically, it has been sitting, I think it's idle pending building permits, I'm not quite sure. I couldn't find a reference to it as far as date in the archived agendas online, so I don't know how long that's been sitting there. So one of these is 20 years. Another one I really don't know. There's another one across the street that was passed last October. So if this is approved, that's going to be 397 homes at the same intersection approved. So the question for this one is really about zoning. Is there a date attached? Because I know there's nothing you can do to actually just flat deny a plat. So those are the questions. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for coming forward. Council, before we get started, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to call on Mr. Albon. Would you mind, as our legal counsel, giving us some guidelines on what you've heard here and what we can expect?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, I'd be happy to. So to use Ms. Baber's words, Texas law has closed that door. The zoning doesn't expire and it runs with the property. So the zoning was approved by a previous council, sounds like 2006, so that the owner or the developer can rely on that zoning to move forward with the zoning. Zoning's not on the agenda tonight. That's not for consideration. They're entitled to rely on that zoning and come forward with the plats, which is what they've done. You've heard us say this before, platting is a ministerial act, as was brought up, which means there really is no discretion to deny it unless it doesn't meet all of our city standards and requirements. And you heard from staff that these plats do meet our requirements. So under the law, basically, there's no discretion not to deny it. And as you know, we have shot clocks in place, and basically it would be approved by operation of law if it's not approved within a certain time frame anyway. But so that's what we say when it's a ministerial act, that it basically is required to be approved if it meets all of our standards and requirements. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, sir. Council, any comments or questions pertaining to these?
Is there anything that would, oh, let Paul go first.
Mayor Paschal, I apologize.
Councilmember Wilder, thank you for that. My question is to our council. Can you explain to our constituents what that shot clock terminology means and how that came into existence, and any other things that the state may have in existence that strongly guides us in how to handle plats and preliminary plats, sir?
Yes, sir, I'll do my best. It's hard sometimes to explain the legislature, but they have determined that that cities should be required to act on plats within a reasonable short period of time. And so the law was changed a few sessions ago to impose my reference to a shot clock, basically, is that the city, when an application is made, does that answer your question, Mayor? Do you think?
Understood.
Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Wilder.
Have you seen within your practice any exception that is held that would allow a denial of this?
No, not if it meets all of the city's requirements for a plat. My answer would be no.
Even at the length of time, you know, things develop here and there and around, and this has been a super long time, and so there's, we could have no exception of something like for safety of drainage or safety of whatever it may be. You've not seen any exception like that.
No, again, remember what we're doing here is platting. So we don't get into drainage, we don't get into traffic. Those things will be addressed as that development moves forward, and your staff will look into those issues and make sure that the drainage is, you've got lots of engineers sitting here on this front row that will look into, does the drainage work and does the transportation work and what needs to be in place to make that work. But basically a plat is you're drawing lines on a piece of paper, dividing up this piece of property into those sorry, Kyson, getting used to the new microphone, to these, in those sublots, and basically that's what the plat is. So.
Thank you.
Okay, understood. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
With that, I'd entertain a motion on 6B. Do I need to read that again?
You don't need to.
Understood. I'd entertain a motion on 6B. Motion has been made by Matt Tiskus, second by Luke Williams. Let's take a vote. Mayor Paschal.
I'm a yay.
And the yeas have it. We'll take a vote on item 6C at this time.
Mayor Pro Tem, could I ask a question, clarification on 6C, just for the optics of what it is specifically? At this time, when I drove through this development, there's already a series of townhomes that are within that. And so this is a set of 9 townhomes that are on the north side of the property. And I'm looking at you, Mr. McDonald, I'm sorry. If you could clarify for me, this would just, all that we're approving in this section here, being phase 1, is the 9 townhomes on the very north end of that pre-existing, for lack of a better term, quote unquote, townhome development. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All the remaining acreage would be phase 2 to come forward at a different time with a different final plat.
Correct. And the image on the screen will show you what you're speaking to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Understood. Motion by Councilmember Luke Williams, second by Councilmember Heidi Wilder. And let's take a vote. Mayor Paul Paschal.
I'm a yay.
It's a yay. That motion carries. Item number 7A, hold a public hearing and consider adoption of ordinance 02026-04 concerning a general plan and zoning map amendment from AG Agriculture to C2 Interstate Commercial, being 2 lots on an approximately 14.17 acre tract generally located at the southeast corner of Cleburne Avenue and Tin Top Road, City of Weatherford, Parker County, Texas, ZCH-26-0002. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. This property, which is approximately 14 acres, is something that you may have seen previously. This was a property that came in for a multifamily development that was denied. The applicant is seeking to transition this parcel and is looking to rezone it. The multifamily, if you recall, really what our quota was is 216 units out to 2030, which was one of the reasons for the denial. So this portion of why it is to rezone this to C2 was just whatever options he has to sell the property. So it is C2 Interstate Commercial, which you will see abuts it to the south. It is consistent with the general plan, which is Entertainment Center, Urban Living, Community Commercial, and it is consistent with our general plan, as I say. Staff is looking for a motion to approve.
Understood. Thank you, sir. Council, as you know, we got to have a public hearing on this item. Would you like to have that before we make comments? Understood. At this time, I will open up the public hearing on item 7A. No speaker cards on the item and no one coming forward. We'll close the public hearing at this time and have discussion amongst council if necessary. Understood. I'll call for a vote. Motion for approval by Councilmember Luke Williams. Second by Councilmember Matt Tiskus. Mayor Paschal.
I'm a yay.
Is a yay. Yeas have it. Motion carries. Item number 7B, hold a public hearing and consider adoption of ordinance 02026-05 concerning a zoning map amendment from AG Agriculture to C1 General Commercial with a conditional use permit for auto repair use on an approximate 3.852 acre tract being generally located along or at 2239 Fort Worth Highway, City of Weatherford, Parker County, Texas, ZCH-26-0001 and CUP-26-0001. Mr. McDonald.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, thank you once again. This particular property, which is a future home, hopefully, for the Glass Doctor, they are a commercial residential glass provider as well as vehicular glass repair and replacement. The applicant is requesting a zoning map amendment and the conditional use permit for the C1 zoning. It is consistent with our general plan for the community commercial. It is going to be used for that glass replacement and repair, ultimately for home, business, and auto or automotive. It's roughly a 4-acre tract. The proposed site plan, you will see there are a couple of buildings on the front of it. What is going to occur is the owner is going to utilize the existing buildings that are there, make some facade improvements, add some awnings over doors, remove an existing window unit, repaint the structure to, just create a different theme which matches some of the other buildings which are to the rear of this. Staff recommends the approval of the zoning map amendment and the conditional use permit subject to the following conditions: that no temporary signs, banners, or other advertisements shall be permitted on the property. Auto repair use shall be limited to vehicular glass and associated repairs only. I will stand for any questions. Well, actually, my apologies. The applicant would like to speak to council, just have a brief presentation.
Understood. Please bring them up. If you wouldn't mind, just say your name and address for the record.
Tim Clark, 2125 Woodland Hills Lane, Weatherford. So we bought this property a year and a half ago. It used to be a wrecking yard. All the cars are gone. The back is cleaned up. We didn't know what we were going to do with it. We had Glass Doctor come to us, wanted to lease it. So our future goal of that land is probably to tear all the buildings down in 3 to 5 years, we'll build a new office complex on that facility. That was kind of our long-term goal. So in the meantime, we just didn't want it sitting vacant. Glass Doctor came to us, had the opportunity to lease it, and we'll clean it up and paint it and get it ready for them. The tenant is here. If there's specific questions about what they do, be happy to answer them, or I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about the property.
Understood. Mr. Clark, I got to say, while you're here, I drive by that property every single day going to work. And, the council before us had a agenda to clean up the Fort Worth Highway as a main corridor coming into our great city. It's because of, and our council has continued that project. It's because of partners like you that we're able to claim victory on that, right? And so you've done a tremendous job, as you pointed out, rightfully so. You've cleaned that place up. You've done a great job. I believe you'll carry that on as you go into this transitionary period with Glass Doctor as your tenant, and we'll do so with future projects that potentially come up there too. So thank you so much for being a good partner.
Absolutely. Have any questions for the tenant? Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. With that, council, we can have discussion, or I call for a motion either way. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm a freshman here. We need to have a public hearing on the matter. With that, I'll open the public hearing for item number 7B for anybody to come forward. Okay, no speaker cards on the matter. No one coming forward. We'll close the public hearing at this time. Thank you for reminding me of that. And we can have council discussion or seek a motion either way. Great. Motion made by Heidi Wilder, second by Luke Williams. With conditions, notably.
Second with conditions.
Understood. Mayor Paschal.
I'm a yay.
A yay.
With conditions, yeah.
Yeas have it. Motion carries. Congratulations. Item number 7C, consider authorizing the city manager to execute a development agreement pertaining to the enclave at Chisholm Trail. Mr. Scott McDonald. I want to note here as well, if you don't mind, the presentation that you're about to give is in response to item number 7C, 7D, 7E, and 7F. And we will hear this presentation on all four items together as a body.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. Scott McDonald, Director of Development Services. As of today, that the applicant has withdrawn, which would be the development agreement, the voluntary annexation, the zoning map amendment, as well as the preliminary plat. The applicant, John McKenzie, is here and would like to provide at least an explanation as to why it is that this has been withdrawn. Just important to note that because this is withdrawn, we're not considering any action on any of these items.
Understood.
The applicant would like to approach.
Please bring him up. That would be great. Mr. John, before you get up here, if you don't mind, would you state your name and your address for record, and then you may begin.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, my name is John McKenzie. I'm with M&A Devco. My address is 1706 Burberry, Allen, Texas. Great. So, as Scott alluded to, that we were not able to participate in the City Council last session. So I'm here with that representation. So I apologize, we were not informed of that. But what we have listened to is the audio and the video of that council. We've also listened to some of the community remarks. We've listened to the neighbors. So we've been at this project now since 2024, and we'll continue on this project, but we also want to be mindful of some of the comments that have been made, and so how we can look at our land plan and make some adjustments or whatnot to try to bring fruition, at least the parkway at some future point, something that I think is a good benefit for this part of town, something that will benefit the elementary school, but something that we can also make sure that we're listening to this body plus the community. So with that.
Understood, Mr. John. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Council, with that said, I want to make sure that we keep in mind when this potential new project does come forward from the group, they will have 2 more public hearings. So it will go before P&Z again, where a public hearing will be had, and it will come before council again, where another public hearing will be had, so everybody will have their input. Today, as far as items related specifically to the enclave at Chisholm Trail, we will not be taking a vote on that, nor be having any discussion pertaining to that particular project with them having removed that from the agenda. That said, as the applicant, Mr. John, had pointed out, he's taken his opportunity to listen to council, he's listened to staff, he's listened to the neighbor. There's a lot of people here today that would like to speak on this item. In fact, there's some speaker cards here. So what we're going to do, while we're not going to have discussion on this as a council and we're not going to vote on this, what we are going to do is allow him and us the opportunity to hear from our constituents. And in doing so, we are going to go ahead and open the public hearing, and I do have 3 speaker cards that we'll come to first. First speaker card on this particular item is Mr. Jeff Oakes, if you'd like to come forward and be heard. Jeff, when you get to the podium, please state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Jeff Oakes, 1668 Whippoorwill Trail, Weatherford, Texas. Okay, so the subdivisions that are possibly going to go in, I'd like to speak on all of those. That's a route that I drive every day, multiple times, and I was there last week taking my daughter to school, and the traffic was all the way from 180 Fort Worth Highway all the way up to the second stop sign where you're driving up North Denton and you're turning right onto North Denton, and the traffic was all the way up there, which is about 1/4 of a mile. Okay, and that's before any of these new homes go in. And how many homes are supposed to go in that area? Hundreds. There's already traffic there. It's going to get worse. It's going to get much worse. You know, I've been posting a lot about this on Facebook over the last couple of months, and I've had a lot of interest. And I've had over 500,000 people have viewed my posts, and a lot of it has to do with this. The posts that get the biggest reaction are the ones regarding all the subdivisions going in. And I have to say, people the majority by far, don't like what's happening. Okay, today somebody texted me and told me that I hate the city council. Okay, we're told not to hate anyone. We're told to love everyone. And so I don't hate the city council. That's a very strong word, and I don't even hate what you do sometimes. I dislike it greatly, but I will say that what I do hate is I hate speaking on this topic. I can't believe we need to speak on this topic. There's already traffic, and we can't afford any more traffic. I hate thinking about moving someday. I love this city. I love this town, and I think I've proven that. And we'd hate to move sometime in the future, okay? And I'm not alone in this. In fact, about a week and a half ago, I posted asking, what if the town grew even more? And people said, we've already moved. Our house is on the market to move, and we're getting our house ready for the market to move. And a lot of people's long-term plan is to move. Yes, I'm just about there. So I and so many others just hope and pray that you vote these down and save our way of living here. Thank you.
Another speaker card here, Ms. Candace Grant.
I'm going to not speak on this topic since we've already. I'll wait.
If you would like to wait, would you like to wait until item number 9? Understood. Understood. She's waiting for her time to speak.
Mayor Pro Tem, if you'll unmute your mic.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that. New microphones. Ms. Candace Grandam has decided not to speak at this time. Another speaker card we have on this subject, Ms. Lynn Baber.
Do you need my address again?
Yes, ma'am, please. Name and address for the record.
Lynn Baber, 2126 Timber Cove Court, Weatherford. So we're not voting on this, and I understand that. However, and I want to thank the developer for their consideration of both council comments and also public comments. I think that's very important, and I think very hopeful for citizens, and especially those who have chosen to come today because they're concerned about this. So I'm going to really address comments about future developments. The enclave specifically included the development agreement, which was incentives and concessions between the developer and the city. And one of the questions that I had asked in the last week, and I was not able to get an answer to that, was what is the dollar amount? How did that balance out? How are these decisions made when you have significant requests for variances from zoning? You know, and so, yeah, we're going to let you have that. We're going to ask for this. So that's a really thing for developer agreements that the city gives and the developer takes, and both ways that goes. So I think that's important to talk about. The other one is zoning, especially with the last item regarding the Cleburne Street. After a conversation about the villas at Heritage Point, it's very clear that zoning is the big gorilla in the room. That's the thing that it sets the straitjacket. And it looks like it's a prison for life depending on which way it goes. So that zoning was just changed because I guess somebody wants to sell the property. The zoning is going to go with it. And my understanding is that zoning can only be requested, changes, by the property owner. My research says petition can't change it, city council can't change it, so concerns about zoning on the public's behalf are huge. So we already mentioned about how many homes are going into this particular area that would have been very close to the position where the enclave at Chisholm Trail was suggested or proposed. But the concerns about the new developments are like this. Does Weatherford need as many homes in one location or at all? What is the supply that is necessary? What do we have and what's on tap? What about proximity to schools? How is that being addressed? This would have dumped and could still dump hundreds, if not 1,000 kids, you know, depending on how many kids there are, into one location. Infrastructure, roads and utilities, what amenities, parks, and retail. Traffic and transportation issue, I think that was just mentioned. I know that's of great concern to a lot of people. Utilities, I think one of the things that pops up a lot when people talk about the new developments is where's the water going to come from? I'm out of time.
Ms.
So,
Baber, yes, ma'am, you're out of time.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay, we do not have any more speaker cards on the item. However, we still have a public hearing open. If anybody else would like to come up and speak, you're more than welcome. Okay, understood. With that said, while we can't speak specifically on items pertaining to Enclave and Chisholm Trail as it has been taken off of the agenda by the applicant, what we can do, council, is we can legally respond to some of these with actual facts. And so with that, I would like to take the opportunity, if y'all are okay, to address some of those comments that were made specifically about capacities with water, electricity, and schools. And so to start us off, Mr. Rick Schaefer, would you mind coming up and just talking on our capacity of water as it refers to development?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. So generally speaking, yes, due to the council and utility board's planning and forethought many decades ago, Weatherford has ample supplies of water, both through water rights permits and contracts with water suppliers. So we have currently connected supplies for sufficient water supplies for now and several decades into the future. Similarly, when we made the same investments in our infrastructure, both in being able to distribute that water throughout our system, and even specifically in the specific pressure planes, being able to provide water to the customers in those areas. So.
Understood. Thank you for that. Assistant City Manager Marbut, would you mind speaking on our capacity in reference to the electrical availability?
Sure. Mayor Pro Tem Council, Chad Marbut, Assistant City Manager. So a lot of discussion statewide about electricity and availability, but alongside our water, wastewater utilities, we also have our electric utility. So here locally, our distribution center is adequately sized for growth, and we do have appropriate redundancy in it. That is so that as we have outages from time to time, storms, whatever it may be, we do have the opportunity to recircuit that power and be able to provide our citizens, get them back online. So again, long-term planning for electricity, we're prepared for growth, not an issue locally with our distribution center.
Understood. Thank you, sir. Another comment that was made was in pertaining to schools. This morning, having known that that was an issue with a lot of our citizens, Councilmember Williams and I served the school on the FACTS committee as they were preparing for a bond project, and so we learned quite a bit in that time. But I also went ahead and reached out to Superintendent Reese today just to speak on capacity in the public school district in Weatherford. Superintendent Reese had said for a 20-year period ranging from 2000 to 2020, the school averaged a 50 child per year increase to enrollment. And that was a 20-year consistent increase in children. In the last 6 years, has gradually flattened out and is now enrollment has become flat. Therefore, leaving the schools with capacity to accept more kids at this time. So that was a concern that the constituents had, and I felt like we should address those at this time. Council, do you have anything else? We cannot speak particularly pertaining to the enclave at Chisholm Trail, but I would be open to any other comments.
It would be nice in the future if we could understand from any planning development agreement that we enter into what the material reality is of the value to the citizens of Weatherford versus just without a planning development agreement. If there was no planning development agreement, they would have to meet all of the code and regulations. What does having a planning development agreement to whatever project it is, it would be nice to understand what the value of that is, what the benefit is to the citizen of Weatherford, and why we did that way.
Mrs. Wilder, would you be comfortable, Ms. Dawn, do you have that down, her question down? Would you be comfortable if we brought up that question and discussed that during the council retreat?
That would be perfect.
Okay, everybody else comfortable with that? Understood. Okay, with that, we will close the public hearing on item 7B, and we will take no action on 7C, I apologize, and we'll take no action on item 7C, 7D, 7E, or 7F, and we will instead move to 7G. Item number 7G, consider authorizing the city manager to execute a construction contract with Gilco Contracting, Inc. for the Kirkpatrick Drive Phase 2 project in the amount not to exceed $2,010,948. Mr. Matt Lepler.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. Sorry. In April of last year, the Public Works Department was directed by Council to begin construction planning for the extension of Kirkpatrick Drive. With the support of Council, and as of January of 2026, we have finished complete design for construction and also right-of-way acquisition. This project is essentially an extension of the existing Kirkpatrick. Call it Phase 2. For reference, if you're not familiar with Kirkpatrick Drive, It's immediately north or behind the Academy and Hobby Lobby retail stores. This project will connect Tin Top Road and Bethel Road, essentially opening up that corridor for connectivity and also potential economic development options. This project consists of approximately 1,200 linear feet of roadway, 1,200 feet of water line, and also 1,900 feet of wastewater line. The funding for this project is being done under the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone, TERS 1 fund. This project is eligible in that fund because it's identified as a capital project within that program. This road is also on our thoroughfare plan and aligns with the land use plan and the general plan. We had, on February 3rd, we advertised this project from January 10th through the 17th. On February 3rd, it opened. We had 11 participants bidding on this job, with Gilco Contracting being the lowest bidder at $2,010,948. This contract is scheduled for 270 days, which is essentially a 9-month project. So with that notice to proceed or construction starting in March, it should wrap up and be complete in December 2026. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Understood. Council, we have any questions for Mr. Lepla?
Can you remind me, have we done any work with this contractor in the past that you're aware of?
I am familiar of the contractor, more on the private side with development and things of that nature. From that experience, they were thorough and were a good contractor to work with. We did get that recommended authorization that our consultants give us when they vet these people that bid on these projects.
Mr. Lepla, you had mentioned that there was 11 bidders and they came in at the lowest. Where was that in reference to what our budget, or are they under budget, above budget?
Yes, that's a great point. Our original engineer opinion of cost for this project was $3 million. So we were very pleasantly surprised when the lowest bid came in at $2 million.
Understood.
This is going to be nice getting over to Academy a little bit quicker.
That's right. Okay, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate your time. With that, council, we can entertain any comments or a motion.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'll make a motion.
Motion by Luke Williams. Second by Mr. Matt Tiskus. We'll take a vote on it. Mayor Paschal?
I'm a yay.
Mayor Paschal is a yay. And the yeas have it. Motion passes. Item number 8 on the agenda is future agenda items. Council, do we have any future agenda items that y'all would like to discuss aside from the one that we had talked about for the council retreat?
Ms. Wilder, would you mind repeating what that was that you wanted to say at the retreat? And I apologize to put you on the spot.
Sorry. Gonna get used to that. I would like to discuss when we bring forth projects, we seem to do a lot of plan development agreements, and reading through some of these plan development agreements and the exhibits that accompany them, I'm not seeing anything that we wouldn't normally get anyway. So I want to try to quantify what the benefit is to the citizen. So if you don't see a benefit, I don't see why doing a plan development agreement is a good idea, because that agreement goes with the land forever. And so why would we do a plan development agreement versus just letting it come forward naturally, and they have to meet all of our standards anyway? So I want to find an understanding if we can either make our agreements a little bit tighter and quantify what those benefits are to the citizen and why we're doing this way.
I appreciate you sharing that. That's, I didn't hear the first part when it came through, so thank you very much for doing that. I'm in support as well of that.
Understood. Council, anything else? Understood. With that, we'll move on to item number 9, citizen comments on non-agenda items. We do have one speaker card. After that, we'll invite anybody else forward. But first, the speaker card, Ms. Lynn Baber, please come on up. You're going to get a lot of Christmas cards because if you don't mind, say your name and address one more time for the record.
Yeah, for anybody who missed it, Lynn Baber, 2126 Timber Cove Court, Weatherford. Okay, so that was a perfect segue, your last conversation, clarifying the retreat point to what I want to bring up today, which is development plans, not only for housing development, but also for commercial. I think most of you know I started a Facebook page, Weatherford Developments, just to share what you all do, what you're thinking about, what the facts are about Weatherford as opposed to what folks just tend to hear. And there's a lot of interest in what is your vision? Is there, and if there isn't, could there be a public development plan? What are you going to do around the city? How do you make your decisions? Where do we need housing? Where do we have too much? Where do we need less? So really putting that out. And I put it out and asked, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this to you? And every single answer was 10. So the citizens, it would eliminate a lot of questions if people have an idea what y'all are doing. So just as your point on the development plans, why are we doing this? What is the benefit to the city and the citizens? So I'm just asking if you would consider putting together what is the city's vision regarding housing, regarding transportation, regarding commercial for different parts of the city so that the citizens have a much better idea of what it is y'all are doing. So thank you so much.
Candace Grantham. I reside at 1801 Abelia Lane in Weatherford, Texas, which is off of South Bowie, and I'm in the Montclair subdivision, which is an existing HOA. I am the president of that HOA.
Could I get you just to pull the mic down just a little bit? I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
The comments, even though everybody, Antares and Impressions were our builders, somehow or another between them looking at the home, signing their papers, they swear every day they don't like HOAs. We don't have amenities there. We don't have room for amenities there. With that said, we are in a situation where they hate it. They hate HOAs. They don't see the benefit of that. So I would ask the city to make sure with your developers in the futures, whatever contractors they are getting to build the homes, that however that's highlighted in bold print, a separate sheet of paper, let them know that's an HOA. They're going to have dues, maybe not 800, maybe not 200, but there's going to be some dues and there's going to be some rules that have to be followed in the HOA. You can't let your grass grow 10 feet tall, let your fence fall down. Those are valid considerations that y'all can solve that here with the developer. We can't do it after it's developed. Everybody's bought houses and they throw their hands up and say, we don't want an HOA anymore. We're just going to vote it out or let the dues run out and it get reabsorbed. Well, it won't happen with our developer because the paperwork wasn't done correctly, which is fine because he's a great developer. He did a really good job and we have an ongoing relationship with him. But people that don't get told that, I don't know whether they did by the builders when they signed their agreements to buy their houses. But I'd like to see some communication with the builders that they do the right thing and make sure that people know they are buying an HOA. It's not a surprise when you sign your paperwork. It says your fee right there, which I've pointed out, but it doesn't make it any easier. And HOAs are a good thing for the city. You have a lot better neighborhood if it's done the correct way. But I just thought I would share that with y'all.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else like to come forward on item number 9, citizens' comments on non-agenda items? Thank you, ma'am. If you would, say your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Avery Lambert, 104 Sherry Court, and I was curious as before making any further building plans for houses or new developments, if y'all have seen inside the current public high schools. Because as a student of the public high school here in Weatherford, it's very hard to get through the school's main hallway as there's an overwhelming amount of students. So I was curious if before we make any more housing developments, if we could expand the high school or build a new high school. Yeah.
Understood. Well, thank you so much. I respect you at your age for coming here and speaking before us. I know it's not easy,
Yeah.
but I promise you it's refreshing to everybody here on this dais and everybody in the crowd. So thank you for being here.
All right, thank you. Y'all have a good day.
You bet. Okay, with that said, with no other speakers on item number 9, that brings us to item number 10, and that's adjournment. We stand adjourned.